birds skimming across the grass. Flitting. Marvellous. Rooks in the trees and Tweety birds. Simply marvellous. They thought they were coming camping, but they're not sure now. They're sitting on the fence. There's our little encampment. I'll go into some detail about the tents later. Just here. Just here. This is a mozza. It's like, should we call it a clot? From the base of an iron furnace. Now, God knows what it's doing up here. It's the only one I can see in the wall. Now, there's a load of these down at Oxon Park, which I'll maybe get to look at later. But even they are out of place, the ones at Oxon Park, because as far as we currently know, there is no iron furnace up this way. But I'll talk about those and these mozzas later. But this one's up here on the campsite boundary wall for some reason. Of course, as it happens, you just say that, go and bloody find another one. This is all good. Here, another mozza. Well, that's two. Maybe some more will pop out. So up here at the farmhouse is the little mess room where you can get a breakfast. What is it now? 9 o'clock in the morning. I've been doing this every day so far. It's a little courtyard, and this is the messing facility. Breakfast, Poppet's got her porridge, tea, and you can have this every day. Just saves an awful amount of hassle, doesn't it, when you're camping and you've just got up bleary eyed and you can walk into this. It's fantastic. And this is the messing. The Abbotess doesn't want to be on film, but I'll just show you a little bit of the galley there where she's not at. So, marvellous. Not many of us have gardens at home, do we? So it's nice when you get out like this. Sunshine, a bit of grass, blue skies, Tweety birds all around. Can you hear them? It's pretty good for midges, this campsite as well. I haven't noticed many at all. Perhaps in the evening there's a bit of breeze that keeps them away, and in the morning, just before the sun climbs over the wall as it were, and there's a little bit of shadow, just early in the morning, you know, sort of 7:30, there's just a few midges fussing about in the shady bit before the sun comes up proper and makes them go away. Yeah, it's just so peaceful and quiet. There's no passing traffic. It's a dead end lane, so only a car or two if someone's stopping at the bunkhouse or coming to the campsite itself, and the occasional tractor from the farm. Other than that, no traffic at all. You know. It's just peaceful and quiet. It's making me feel sleepy. Oh dearie me. So that's it. Poppet's tent she got all excited about. She wanted to come here incidentally. She wanted to come camping. I thought, oh, that's a good idea. And I bought me pop-up as well and thought, oh well, I'll try that at the same time. So, good on her. She still likes to get under canvas occasionally. That's what motivated us to try coming up here by bicycle, by mule. A mule-powered camping trip. Look at that blue sky. Not a cloud to be seen today. We had white puffy clouds yesterday when we were walking, but no, there's not anything. Here comes Poppet. What do you reckon, eh? Not a bad campsite. I reckon it's lovely. Breakfasts, packed lunches if you want them. Nice modern washing facilities. Marvellous. So this is the campsite. Another glorious day. Beautiful blue sky. Oh look, there goes a jet. There's been the odd jet go over during the day. RAF training flights, I imagine. Awesome. I just discovered the name of these. Damselflies. Can you see them? Blue. Can you see them there? They're just like little wispy hints of blueness. I hope these are coming out. Let's see if I can. I think there was 3 of them there at one point. There's 2. Can you see them? Quite a lot of this site is sort of a bit slopey. There's a few, like maybe 2 or 3 places where you can see it's decently flat. So, because you might not be guaranteed of a flat spot if you get here and there's already a load of people around, what I suggest you do is bring some grip strip, you know, this stuff you put on dashboards of cars or whatever. And if you just put some of that between your airbed and your inner sheet, because you know what it's like, if you're not on dead flat ground, then during the night the airbed starts sort of shimmering down because there's little friction between plastic and such forth. The airbed will start shimmying down, you'll end up sort of poking out of one end of the tent. It's almost as if by transcendental meditation or something, it just happens in the night, doesn't it? You move. So you want a bit of grip strip if you're not lucky enough to get a sort of pretty flat spot to begin with. Heckling the owner of the campsite to maybe consider just somehow taking a bit of soil from the upper part of a pitch and depositing it in the lower part, maybe just to create a few more level areas, if that could be done without removing all the topsoil, because you need some topsoil, don't you, to get your pegs in and that kind of thing. Maybe to bring a little topsoil from somewhere else just to level up a few more little sites, you know, maybe 8 foot square or something is all that's needed to get a good level pitch for an average sized tent, shall we say. And there's some nice shady areas under the tree. Of course, if you do camp under a tree and it rains, you then end up with super splats of water, don't you? So there's that to consider, as it all drips off the trees, off the leaves and whatnot. A field of little lambs just next door. I think these cones are here to remind people driving onto the site not to go over that edge. That's all. But of course, being such a slopey site, you wouldn't want to drive any further than the end of this trackway, because once you're onto grass, if it's wet and slippy, you'd never get your motor out again. So you have to sort of park up in the farmyard really, and you perhaps unload your stuff at the end of the track, but then move your vehicle and leave the car in the farmyard and just walk up to the loos and everything, you know. Water and washing up facilities. And yes, it mustn't be underestimated how sweet it is to have a breakfast there, because it saves all that faff in the morning, you know, especially on wet days. You know, and having a pack-up lunch as well. At cost, obviously, but you know, it just saves you. If you're camping light, you don't have to bring bread, shed loads of bread and margarine and all that, because you know, you can have your butties made for you with stuff that's in-house. Breakfast and packed lunch saves no end of hassle. And here's the loos, ladies, gents. These are all quite recently put in, you know. When we first came to this campsite a few years ago, let's say it was 6 or 7 years, something like that. These are all freshly brand new and probably the best camping block in High Furness, I imagine. You know, perfectly adequate. Marvellous. Top top notch. I do like to see a bit of farm machinery. Look at that. Can't see a maker's plate on it though. Be nice to think it was Garrett's of Leiston or Ransom's of Ipswich, maybe. Just because they were local to where I used to come from. But who knows. And the new bunkhouse facility, of course. Campsite itself is on a junction of bridleways and footpaths. So, since we were here last, the campsite owners had these camping barns built, and look at these. Dead posh and new, 2012 I think it says on the gable end. Look at this. It's not meant to be a cottage, this is more like your camping barn experience where you cook for yourself and you kip on a mattress on a little camp cot and such forth upstairs on the mezzanine. Oh look, it's got little ensuite facilities here. Yeah, a little shower basin and loo. There'll be a loo just behind the door. Yeah, little galley facilities. Look at this, blinking marvellous, isn't it? Wood burning stove, I think wood's provided, you know. Isn't that sweet and bonny? Yeah. So I'm given to understand there is no Wi-Fi facility or anything like that up here. It's just somewhere to, you know, have that camping barn experience. Stairs going up to the bunking area on the mezzanine. Look at that. This is dead cool, isn't it? And there's Poppet looking all envious because we're in a blinking tent. Yeah, that's cool, isn't it? I'll just do a bit on the outside. The lady's upstairs just doing the bedding. And she said actually there are gaming facilities here. Okay, look at this. Yep. You see, there's Perilous Penguins, OMG, Buckaroo and Connect 4. So, no Wi-Fi, but you can do gaming. Just as an architectural feature on the staircase here, you see those beautifully cut slate slabs. Now, they look like pictures hanging on the wall, but they're actually an architectural feature, i.e., you know, they're part of the mason work in the solid wall behind, but just as an exposed feature. Yeah, just look at that banded slate. Brilliant. (2012). A pair of camping bovies. Camping barns, but you know, low facility, just somewhere to kip and cook your own and dry out after a day on the fells. Bloody brilliant, I reckon. Picnic area in front. Oh, what have you spotted? Oh, some tomato. A what? A washing line.
Is it like a washing line?
Yes, it is, yeah.
It's a bit higher.
Yeah. There's this nice little porch feature, you know how they do on the old traditional barns. You see these little jutty out lean-to things, just to give you a porching area. The farm itself is a wonderful little traditional cluster of structures nestled in a little pocket, if you like, in the low fells. The bunkhouse and the wash house obviously are new structures. And there's the campsite down there. views all around. It is very nice indeed. And from here you can even see the sea. Now last night when we were walking up the hill, I've yet to check on the map to see whether the road points due south, but if it does, then that will confirm the suspicion I had last night that we could see North Wales and Anglesey, because it was clear, you know, just sort of landmass above, beyond the waters as it were. Marvellous. Now, with a name like Abbot Park, of course, there's probably a bit of, what's the word, ecclesiastical history to this place. Abbot Park infers that it was possibly an outlying grange farm, as they used to call them, perhaps to either Furness Abbey at Barrow, or to the, it's not an abbey, but the Carmel setup. And because they were heavily into exporting of wool back in those days, this, I speculate, this was possibly just an outlying grange farm upon which sheep could be raised to add to the general flock and fleece take, I suppose you might call it, because you know they used to use Peel Island as a castle, as a warehouse, fortified warehouse, to protect their stock until they transshipped it and all that. Hence the great riches of Furness Abbey, and indeed most other abbeys, from trading wool. Now, because of those historical roots, the lady, the owner here, was telling me that actually within her house there's a well, okay, a piece of glass over it, so you now walk over it and look down it like you do that thing on Blackpool Tower. But originally it would have been just like a longhouse kind of affair, with a domestic dwelling at one end of a structure and, I don't know, sheep housing at the other for young lambs or whatnot. And the well would have been outside at that point, and then of course as the farmhouse was developed and enlarged, the footprint of the farm enclosed or encircled where the well was, so the well is still there within now the domestic property of the house. And it was driven in, I'm told, I haven't had a look at this yet, I'm told it's driven in solid rock, you know, maybe 30 feet deep. Now that is one hell of an undertaking back in those days, because it's proper mining, really, shaft sinking, back in the days when iron made for inferior tools compared to today's steel and whatnot. So that's an interesting feature. I hope I can get to have a look at that sometime, maybe, perhaps on a future visit, have a look at that well and work out the means by which it was driven and such forth. But obviously that well would have provided water for the, shall we say, the monks who lived up here tending the sheep at Abbot Park, what is now called a farm, but then probably an outlying grange. So there it is. I think that's the campsite done, and a little bit of history as usual, of course, you know. Oh yeah, I had pointed out those mozzas in the wall, haven't they? So they're part of the same enigma that we have down at Oxon Park, except that they're even more enigmatic being up here because it's even bloody further uphill. Why would you bring them up here, you know, unless you were in training for Westmoreland wrestling or something and wanted to carry a load up a hill just for exercise? Doesn't make sense, does it? And indeed one of those mozzas was quite low down in the wall up here at the campsite, you know, so it had been built into the wall early on, not just added on top later, sort of thing. Right, I'm just gibbering obviously. Right, that's the campsite done and dusted, I think. Oh, I forgot to say, silly silly me, I forgot. Of course, it's all very well coming up here on an e-bike, but what if your bloody batteries goes flat? What do you do then? Well, up here, subject to asking the hostess, the abbotess, the owner of the campsite, you know, they have the facility to recharge bikes. By which I mean, as long as you bring the proprietary charger that comes with your bike, you've got somewhere up here to plug it in, that's all I'm saying, you know, to mains electricity so you can recharge. And just whilst on that point, coming up here from a fresh charge on the e-bikes, with pannier loads of kit, backpacks on our backs, plus the trailer on my bike, I think I was down to about, what the hell was it? Just around about 50% by the time we got here. And there's a few steep hills at the end where I had to sort of up the power levels. But you know, 50% after 30 kilometres with full pannier load plus trailer, you know, that's probably not bad going really. It got us here, probably about 2.5 hours, something like that, you know. And we stopped for a sandwich at Booth's as well. So it's doable, that's all I'm saying, and you can recharge, subject to speaking to the campsite owner about it before you come or when you get here, you know, because there's bridleways all around. But yeah, bridleways all around, you know, there's Grisdale Forest just up the road, plenty of other little lanes to explore. You know, if you come up here on your e-bikes, there's plenty to go at, that sort of thing. Okay, marvellous. I think I'll close it now. Thank you very much for watching, and we'll see if anything pops up during the week while we're here. Alright, bye now. Oh, well, here we are. Last night at the campsite. We're going back to Barrow tomorrow from our 1950s style camping holiday, tenting in the South Lakes district. But this just here, this just shows you a little old stove, just a bit of imagination and tinfoil, shows what you can create, you know. You don't have to suffer. I've got garlic bread in there and a salad bowl. We're just going to have a last supper. A little camping stove, you see, you don't have to bloody just rough it with veggie sausages or... We've been having samosas, Indian bhajis, vegetable curry and naan breads throughout the week because we brought a bit of stuff with us, you know. We've had the odd bar meal, of course, but here tonight, a proper feast. Of course, I'm only bloody joking. They do here, if you ask for it during the day or the day before, and say, oh, can you do us a hot takeaway? It's fresh from the farmhouse oven. We've got lasagna, garlic bread, cooked up just now in the farm. Marvellous. Huge great lasagnas, probably good enough for 6 people, and there's just 2 of us. But never mind, we'll give it a good crack. So, I mean, it's worth knowing, isn't it, that if you want a good meal, you can just ask the landlady and she'll cook you up a good nosh, you know. Whatever you want, within reason. And we'll settle up the cost for that tomorrow. But great, absolutely great. Breakfasts, pack up lunches, and even evening meals if you want them. Can't beat that, can you? For lightweight camping. Saves you bringing tons of food and all that. Okay, gonna have some food now. Look at this. Camp food on style. It's a bit like Swallows and Amazons in the book Pigeon Posts, where they had to camp in Mrs. Tyson's orchard and they had meals cooked to them by Mrs. Tyson every night. Blinking marvellous. Ah, and there's still tons left. Good Lord. Ah, it's just great. Thanks ever so much, Mrs. Campsite owner lady. It's just brilliant.